Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Jeremiah Taylor. I'm a real estate agent with LifePoint Real Estate here in Westerville, Ohio. And today I'm going to be talking about the pros and cons of living in Columbus, Ohio, and my personal experience. Just to give you a little bit about my background, I was actually born in Ohio. I lived here until I was 13, and then I went to live with my mother in LA from 13 to 18 in Southern California. And then when I turned 18, I moved back here to Powell, Ohio. So, I grew up here and now I'm back here rediscovering the city as an adult. I've formed an opinion and I want to share that with you guys today. So in terms of affordability, I just want to start off with saying that my boyfriend and I rent an apartment, a 2-bedroom apartment. I believe it's like 800 square feet, and we spend $850 per month on the rent. Granted, this was a quick decision and it's not like the Taj Mahal, but it's a nice place, and that just goes to show like how cheap rent could be. So the national cost of living on average, Columbus and Cleveland, Ohio are actually 6.9 to 7.5% below that national average. So, it makes sense. We're the Midwest, so of course we're going to not have those higher prices like these bigger cities. I mean, I was serving when I moved here, and I was just working at Waffle House, and I was able to pay my bills and just live comfortably. It's super easy. It's super average and it's super comfortable. So cost of living is really not a factor, especially for myself coming from LA. Yeah, and then in terms of home purchase, I mean, I specifically, my office isn't located is in Westerville, and the average home there, it's like $332,000. So, again, coming from LA, if you're coming from New York, if you're coming from Florida, the home prices there, you really can't get anywhere with $300,000. That's not gonna buy you a shack. That's really on the high end. I mean, I help buyers buy homes for $150,000. It's actually one of the best places to buy a home in the country, and just in regards to equity built over the time of the home ownership, and home values constantly rising, and so much people coming here, so much money being put into our ecosystem. Home ownership here just really makes sense. So now I want to talk about accessibility. I personally can't say there are any pros to the accessibility here. I mean, we do have a bus system, we do have a transit system. It's just really bad. I used to live in Powell in northern Columbus, and I literally couldn't work. I couldn't walk to a job. I couldn't, there were no bus stops by me. Uber wasn't economical for me at the time. So depending on where you live in the city, it can be really hard to get around. We'll probably want a car. You'll need a car. I really don't know of anyone who likes the bus. The transit system is just not really that good, and I'm actually a part of a youth-led climate justice movement that really tackles how accessibility in the transit system really needs repair, because it inhibits people from getting jobs and doing things that they need, like healthcare and just day-to-day things like grocery shopping and things like that. Being on the bus here is just like, it's really not the move. Here, I really just can't, I couldn't rely on the transit system, so getting a car for me was so important. So I guess the only pro here would be is that we actually do have a transit system, so if you're moving from somewhere that doesn't, then I guess having one, even if it's not amazing, is okay. And so in terms of the culture, I would say, I mean, just living here in Columbus, Ohio, there is a lot of diversity, honestly, in the areas that I frequent. But I do find that the city is super diverse. The food, you can really find any cuisine here. I really can't think of anything where you couldn't find. Like, there's a really huge Muslim community here. There is a really large Black community here. 46% of the residents here in Columbus, as of 2020, I believe, are Black. So a really big Black community here. And there's so many food festivals that happen like really in the summer. There's vegan food festivals. I was a vegan for a period of time. I'm now predominantly plant-based, or try to be. And there's really so many things. There's so many options out there. A lot of restaurants that I frequent here have vegetarian and vegan options. Some of my staples are like North Star is always a good go-to. I really love Cameron Mitchell restaurants. So, I mean, there's just a wide variety of food. The only con that I do have about Ohio and just probably small towns in general is how early things close. Like, I'm 21. If I'm out and I'm going to parties or whatever, or like even if I'm not going to parties, because I don't go out all the time, but like if I'm inside and I'm like hanging out with my boyfriend and we want like a meal at 1 o'clock, like I want to be able to order like sushi. I want to be able to order like a fajita meal. I know I just literally said I'm predominantly plant-based and I'm listing these animal-based products, but I just, that's the one thing that really gets under my skin. And I notice myself saying that all the time. It's like, oh my God, I wish things would stop closing so early. Like I have to be sure if I'm gonna either make food or order food. If I'm gonna order food, it has to be before 11 or 10 o'clock because everything is shutting down. I have an amazing selection of grocery stores. I personally love food. I love to cook. And we have Kroger, of course, which is Ralph's if you're from LA, owned by the same company, providing the same produce I can imagine. We have Giant Eagle, we have Meijer, we have Walmart, but some of my personal favorites are Saraga, I believe that's how you say it. It's an Asian market here in Central Ohio. It has an amazing selection of anything Asian that you couldn't find anywhere else. There's also Lucky's Market, which is a higher end grocery store here, also with an influx of those different cultures that you wouldn't normally find at like your Kroger or your Giant Eagle or your Walmart and stuff like that. We also have we have a plethora of farmers markets during the warmer months. Westerville specifically, where my office is located, we have I believe it's every Saturday during the warmer months, we have a produce market. So I wanted to talk about the traffic. Traffic is not bad whatsoever. I mean, of course, during the peak hours of the day, you know, early in the morning and then 5 o'clock rush hour, you're going to have that rush hour, that traffic. But, you know, you can honestly get anywhere in Columbus within 30 minutes. Now, if you live on the outskirts, okay, it could take you 45 minutes. But even then, you know, it's really nothing, especially if you're coming from those bigger cities like myself, where it would take me 2 hours just to get to LA and I lived, you know, 20 miles away. So kind of crazy. People complain about the traffic here and I'm just like, you have no idea. In terms of being a part of the LGBTQ plus community, we were actually ranked top 20 cities. I believe we're like 14 most populated gay cities in all of America, which I was just so shocked to hear. But it makes sense. There are a lot of gay people here. We have a drag scene. The short north has a lot of that LGBT influx. It's a slower paced city. You know, I don't really, you know, coming from LA, I feel like everything is so go, 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 go. It's definitely a slower city. And I feel like the vibe here is definitely a lot calmer. You know, people seem to be more down to earth and just basic. Not that there's anything wrong with that. And yeah, it's just a very simple lifestyle. So another thing that I like about Ohio is we have a lot of access to different like travel spots. So I really love to go to Miami. So it's a really cheap flight. The airport that we have here to Miami is like $100. Like it's so cheap, less than that. Like I've gone for like $50. So, you know, you have really quick access to Florida. You have the Carolinas, really pretty beaches there, Hilton Head. You have New York City, which is just like an 8-9 hour drive and like a 1-2 hour flight. You have Chicago, which is a 5.5 hour drive. It's a 1 hour flight. You have Michigan, you have Cleveland, Cincinnati. I really love Cincinnati. So something that I almost forgot to mention was the weather. So the weather here in Ohio is it's a little finicky. Again, coming from LA, it's very hot year round. That is not like that here in the Midwest, but it's not awful like it is in New York or Chicago or, you know, like Cleveland or Michigan if you're closer to the lake. Today is Friday, November 26th, Black Friday, and we actually had our first snowfall where this snow actually stuck. And I live in central Columbus, so you know, it'll probably be cold and it'll probably snow until February, March. So we have pretty short winters, and they're not awful by any means. Coming from LA, I don't really love the cold, but I also don't hate it. So, you know, I don't know that I would love a Chicago or a New York winter, but I think the Columbus winters are totally manageable. And again, coming from the coast where there's not much of a season change, I love the season changing. You know, people here love the summer and hate the cold, but I think having the experience of living in a area where there was no seasons and it was just hot. I can really appreciate the falls, the leaves changing during the fall. I can appreciate it getting colder and being able to layer up and just having the seasons, just what you expect seasons to be. Like, I really personally love all the change. I do. I think it's beautiful, and I love seeing it. Politics, we are a Republican state. We're a red state. So really doesn't show up too hard. Like if you're like black, if you're LGBTQ, if you are, non-conforming, you're pretty much good on the inner city. It's when you get too far out, where myself, where, I work in real estate, so I'm all over the city, I'm all over the state, honestly. Like, I'm driving an hour and a half out, and, I'm starting not to want to do that anymore, because sometimes I'll go out too far and I'm not going to feel safe. So within a 30 to 45 minute radius of Columbus, you're pretty good. But again, I am a black, maybe presuming hetero guy. I'm 5'10", so maybe there's that has to do with it. My white boyfriend, he has been a victim of hate speech. Like any city, it's not going to be completely safe. That it's a great place to live. I think it's super affordable, and I think in terms of raising a family, I think that it's one of the best. I mean, in terms of schools, Ohio State University was ranked 16 of the top public universities in all the country. So we definitely have the schools, higher education, and, K through 12. I personally grew up in Worthington school districts, and I had a really great childhood. Having a buyer's agent to guide you through everything that I spoke about is super important. So this is a really broad video. Please let me know if you have any other video ideas specific to moving to Columbus, Ohio, or anything about Columbus that you want me to speak about. I would love to do that. And if you are thinking of getting into the real estate market as an realtor here in Columbus, I do have some videos on that, so you guys should definitely check that out, and I'll have some linked here. So again, my name is Jeremiah Taylor. I'm a listing partner and a buyer specialist with the Clark Group at LifePoint Real Estate. Our office is in Westerville, Ohio. So if you are thinking of moving here, or if you know someone that is thinking of moving here, or if you already live here and you'd like to move up, upgrade, or downsize, or invest, I would love to be your trusted advisor. I'm gonna put all my contact information down below, so please reach out, and I would love to help you guys. So please subscribe if you guys want more real estate content, want more content about myself. Over and out. See you on the next one.